Hello everyone, happy Thursday. Today we're going to be going over the first FRQ question on the 2014 AP exam. So this is in essence just a word scrambler. And so there's a certain set of rules that wants you to follow, and the first method is basically just the one that scrambles the word, and the second one is in essence going to take a list of these words, scramble them, and only add them if they're different than their original word. But I'm going to go through each precondition and postcondition now and just the basics of the problem first. So to start off, we have to write the method scramble word, which takes a given word and returns a string that contains the scrambled version of that word according to these rules. So it begins at the first letter of the word from left to right, and if two consecutive letters consist of an A followed by a letter that's not an A, then the two are swapped in the scrambled string. And once the letters in these two positions have been swapped, they are ignored and can't be involved in a future swap. So these are just an examples. Tan would turn to Tana, and you can see the rest of them. For example, eggs and A would not change, because eggs, there's obviously no A, and A, there's nothing following the A, so it's just ignored. Same thing with woe, because as you see, there's nothing following the A. But yeah, so if you look in aardvark, this A is actually moved, but that's not because of this A, it's because this A, the second A, is followed by an R, so the R and the A are switched, not the A and the A. So the precondition is going to be a word, it's either an empty string or it's going to be all uppercase letters, so that means the result is always going to be uppercase. So that's what scramble word is. This line right here, that's pretty useless because it's because of the precondition that it all has to be uppercase. What I was doing with that basically was ignoring the case of all of the letters and just always setting it to uppercase, as you can see by the return statement. But it's not really going to matter, so this is pretty completely unnecessary, but it doesn't make a difference either way. So this is the start of my while loop. So here's why I did my while loop, to avoid where if something's swapped, it can't be swapped twice. So this is just the easiest way to avoid that. So what this if statement right here is doing is basically if word, which is the string you pass through, dot char at, so the character at I minus 1, which is why we start at 1, so 0, is equal to A, and word dot char at I, which keep in mind is going to always be 1 ahead, so it starts at 1, so it's 0 comparing to 1, is not equal to A, so that's if the first one's A and the second one's not A, then pretty much this is just a swapper of the two, so it takes the substring of the word up to that I minus 1, and remember that's not including the I minus 1, and then it takes the word starting from the character after I and going from there, and then in the end product for the word you take S1, which is the first part of it, up to I minus 1, plus the character at I, plus the character at I minus 1, so that's where the two characters are switched, and then plus S2, which is just the rest of the word after that character. And so now word has been changed. It does the two I plus pluses, and obviously if this statement is false, it just ignores all of this and does the one I plus plus, so there's still a chance that the second character can be swapped. and then it loops again. So yeah, and then in the end it just returns a word, but then as I said before, dot to uppercase, which is completely unnecessary, but it's there, yeah. So basically, what this is just the entire thing. It's not too complicated. It just swaps the two characters if they're A, and it goes to the whole string. Next, we have this method, scramble or remove. So what this does is it replaces each word in this parameter that's passed through word list, which is just a list of words that it wants you to scramble, and it passes it through, and if the word is scrambled, it goes into the final array list, but if it's not scrambled, it just ignores it, so it removes it. So hence the name scramble or remove. So for example, you have these words here. Tan is obviously changed, abracadabra is changed, but as I said before, both woe and eggs are not changed. So these two are both removed, and apple is kept though because it becomes papple. So you keep those two, and now the array list consists of just 3 elements rather than the original 5 because you're removing those two. So yeah, so the precondition is just a word list, and none of the elements of this word list are null, so you don't have to worry about that. And then what it just, like I said before, it just wants you to scramble it and remove it if it's the same and it didn't do anything when it got scrambled. So there was a few different ways I could have done this. You could obviously use a Boolean or a variety of other things like that. But what I did was, so I started off with a temporary array list of strings, and it's just empty. And the reason I did that is because instead of removing them, to keep like the for loop constant and to not have to worry about indexes changing and stuff while I'm going through it, I just had it address the original word list. And this is, you don't actually return anything. The method is void. What you're doing is you're changing word list. So what I did basically was I kept that. That's why I couldn't do. That's why I had to worry about the elements changing and stuff of the indexes. So what I did is I took the temp, I did everything I needed to it, and then at the end here, I used the remove all method for word list. And what that does is it clears every element of word list. So not only does it set it to null, but it also just completely removes it. And then I added, for the size of temp, I added each element back in. So basically just copying temp without actually copying the address. Here's how I went through this. So this is just a regular for loop. It goes through the entire array list. And so that goes down to here. And so what this statement is here is saying if the scrambled word is equal to the original word, but I have the exclamation point here, which makes it not. So if the scrambled word is not equal to the original word, then add the scrambled version of the element at index I. And there's no, else it would just be remove, but since it's a temporary thing, you don't actually have to put the else in there. So it's just, other than that, don't do anything, and it just won't add it. So that's all this for loop is needed for. Once again, pretty simple. And then this is just what I was saying before with the remove all, and then the setting it equal. So now word list does consist of only the scrambled versions of words that actually change when they're scrambled. So none of the words should be equal to their original. So now that I've gone through all of the code, here's the test run of it. So this uses tan to tana, that's correct. Abracadabra changes, woe does not change, aardvark changes, eggs does not change, and a does not change. and neither does this blank string. So that's completely good. Um, and then for part B, this is their example. You start off with these 5 elements and you go down to 3 in the end. So we have our 5 elements here, and we're down to 3 because it removes woe and eggs because both of them don't have anything changed when they're scrambled, and these are the 3 scrambled versions of these 3 originals here because they were changed when they actually got scrambled because they had that combination of an A followed by a non-A. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This wasn't too complicated, and I hope I explained it well. All right, thank you.